We have officially made it to the second half of the season in our Madden 22 franchise with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Birds are going up to the Mile High City here, Week 10, against the Denver Broncos. Philadelphia is currently 5-4, coming off a 1-1 record in the last episode, beating the Lions and losing to the Chargers. We have quite a few things to go over today, but before we do anything, we have our second prospect profile of the year in which we'll be focusing on running backs and wide receivers. The Eagles need some help at the skill position players, so I think there's a good chance some of these guys we look at will become Philadelphia Eagles. Starting with running backs, the top projected one on the board is Matt Miller out of Westlake. And if you watch the Westlake series, you probably recognize this name and you probably know how good Matt Miller is. If you did not watch this series, that's A-okay. I'm going to explain to you how good Matt Miller is. And the answer is, well, he's really darn good. This is a super talented back who is a big play machine. He's not the biggest guy, but he is super swifty. He has great athleticism. He makes great cuts between the tackles. And there's a reason why he's the number one projected running back in this class and probably the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley. However, there are three other first-round projected running backs in Omega Morris out of Illinois, Micah Martinez out of Michigan, and Isaiah Kenya out of TCU. All three of them are first-round talents, but the one who entices me the most is Morris out of Illinois, who is also an early first-round projection and an early first-round talent, just like Matt Miller. Morris is a really big dude. He stands at 6'2", 225 pounds. He's a very old-school type of running back, kind of like a Derrick Henry, someone who uses their bruising strength to make plays. Even if you want to look more recent, he reminds me a lot of Najee Harris out of last year's draft class from the University of Alabama. I think Morris is actually a better prospect than Najee Harris, which says a lot because Najee Harris is a really good player. But Omega Morris is just an absolute force. There's a legit shot. Him and Matt Miller are both top 10 picks. One of my favorite mid-round running backs in this class is Humphrey Hawksworth out of the University of North Carolina. Third-round projection, first-round talent. Hawksworth has been buried in the North Carolina depth chart, being below guys like Javonte Williams and Michael Carter. But now that both of them are in the NFL, Hawksworth has gotten his time to shine, and he has not looked back. One of the best pass-catching backs in this entire draft class, but he's also a really good runner, too. A lot of shades of Alvin Kamara with him. Now, do I think he'll be as good as Kamara? No, I don't, but I think Humphrey Hawksworth has a chance to be a stud. As we go down the board even further, a player who reminds me a lot of Humphrey Hawksworth, but is even more of a sleeper, is Rosemond St. Clair out of Kansas, 6th-round projection, but he is also a late first-round talent. He is also mainly a receiving back, and I think he could play wide receiver if he wanted to. I get a ton of Kenneth Gainwell vibes with Rosemond St. Clair, and if the Eagles did not already have Kenneth Gainwell, I think St. Clair would be super high on their radar. I think the Eagles are definitely going to consider him anyway, just because a player of his talent in the 6th round is pretty absurd. There are a few other talented mid-round backs in this class. We won't check out their highlights, but I do want to show a few guys, including Isaiah Dye out of the University of Alabama, Harlan Tremblay from Texas, and Clay Cook from Georgia. I think they're all really good. Also, it's an elite fullback class, by the way. I challenge you to yell all of these names out loud. Okay, now on to wide receivers. There are quite a few players at the top of this class who are really good, none of whom are projected higher than Tykeem Keon out of the University of Texas. Mid-first round projection, mid-first round talent. He's a really well-rounded player in my opinion. 6 foot, 190. He can play inside and out. Good short route runner, but he can also stretch the field vertically. He's pretty athletic, quite fast. He has good hands as well. As you can tell, he really does not have many weaknesses, and because of that, he has a super high floor. If I were to nitpick, I will say he does play with quarterback Malachi Madison, who is the number one quarterback in this draft class, whom I introduced you guys to in the last episode. But Keon is a stud. But he might not be the most talented receiver in this draft class, because I would like to introduce you to Zayden Savage out of Penn State. 20 years old, early first-round talent. This guy might have a higher ceiling than anybody in the entire draft class, regardless of position. Standing at 5'11 and weighing 206 pounds, Zayden Savage plays the game with swag. He plays the game fun, but there are some character concerns with him. I'm not necessarily saying he's a bad kid, but sources from Penn State have referred to him as a diva. Look at guys like Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham Jr., other really talented wide receivers who aren't necessarily bad people, but you do have to worry about the character a little bit with him. The other first-round projected receivers are Matt Franchenzo out of Oregon State and Case Cugnett out of Texas. Both of them are pretty good. Jazeel Collins out of Washington is pretty solid. I want to look at the Westlake wide receivers because there's a lot of them in this class. Maurice Rogers, second-round projection, mid-first-round talent. And as you go down the board, there are a lot of guys, including Chet Kucharski, the former high school quarterback, Josiah Mendez, who I think could be a really nice gem. He had a very strong senior season. Justin Bennett never really got a chance to play, but I think he could be really good. Kadarius Franklin, great player at Westlake. Not the biggest guy, but with the ball in his hands, he's really good. And then Noah Cox, only 5'7", but in the 7th round, he's really good value. I do want to highlight some day 2 receivers, including Huckleberry High Sauce out of Rutgers, who's a mid-first round talent. He is a 24-year-old, 5'9" slot receiver. He doesn't have the physical skill set you look for to be an elite receiver, but he has a super high floor, and even if he never develops into a great player, he's going to be a starting caliber receiver for a decade in the NFL. We've seen teams like the New England Patriots churn out these small, scrappy, and dare I say, white slot receivers who turn into pretty good players. Guys like Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. Huckleberry High Sauce is really similar to those players. The high ceiling, low floor player in day 2 is Dexter Dixon III out of Mississippi State. He's a little bit bigger at 5'11". He is a 3rd round talent, so he's a little bit raw, but he is super athletic, and in my opinion, has the upside to be really good. You're going to have to be patient with him. You're going to have to develop him, but I think Dexter Dixon could be a sleeper in the 2nd round, and I think a team like the Eagles, who have some talented players already at receiver in Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor, maybe want to take a shot on a guy like Dexter Dixon. There are a few other talented players down the board. I like Derek Watson out of Illinois. He's a high-floor slot guy. Amonte Rogers out of Oregon. He's only 5'9", but he's pretty good. Troy Dobbs out of Florida. He's a talented player. We were introduced to his brother, Ladarius Dobbs, who plays quarterback at Florida in the last episode. And his brother, Troy Dobbs, in my opinion, is quite good. So that will wrap up what, in my opinion, is a really good wide receiving class, but there's one more prospect I want to highlight in today's episode. He is a running back in next year's draft class by the name of Osiris Jefferson out of LSU. Standing at 5'11", 208 pounds, this guy is a stud. I know a few minutes ago I said Matt Miller's been the best running back prospect within the past few years, probably since Saquon Barkley. Well, Osiris Jefferson here is probably the best running back prospect since Bo Jackson. And I do not say that lightly. Despite only being 5'11", 208, he runs like he's a 230-pound tank. He's a great receiver. He's super athletic. No weaknesses to his game. He's been the best player in college football this season, the overwhelming favorite for the Heisman Trophy, and he's only a true sophomore. He is not related to Justin Jefferson, by the way. I know they have the same last name. They play for the same college. There's no relation, but they both are really good at football. So that'll conclude the prospect profile. Now as we focus on the real Eagles, as you can see, we have a breakout opportunity for Terrell Burgess. And we can move him up to superstar development, which would be really good. So we acquired Burgess during the trade deadline at the last episode with the Los Angeles Rams in the Anthony Harris trade. And through 2 games, Burgess has been really impressive. In the win against Detroit, he had 7 tackles. And then last week against the Chargers, he had 8 tackles, 1 for a loss, and a sack. So if we can get him up to superstar development, that will be a big deal. Looking at the game plan, there's nobody who really scares me on Denver's offense other than maybe Sutton and Judy. I guess Noah Fant's pretty good too. So I want to focus on the intermediate pass to stop those receivers. And then I want to focus on running the ball because our run game has been super inconsistent this year. So I want to emphasize that. So let's get to the ball game. The 5-4 Philadelphia Eagles trying to stay over 500 here in the Mile High City today as they face off against the 4-4 Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater won the quarterback battle against Drew Lock at the beginning of the season, so he is the starter. Now, Teddy Bridgewater is not a bad player, but he's not necessarily a player we're worried about, and I'm not overly worried about the run game either. Melvin Gordon is not the player he once was, and Javonte Williams doesn't seem to get enough touches for us to really game plan around him. So let's get this one started. The Eagles and the Broncos here in Denver. The altitude will make an impact on today's game. One of the new features to Madden 22 was to have the weather actually count. And in Denver, the altitude is a big deal. So look for that to make an impact. A quick sack out the gate for Terrell Burgess just a minute into the game. We are having Burgess play sub-linebacker today instead of safety because it'll give him a better opportunity to complete those challenges and move up to superstar dev. And he already has 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss, and now he only needs 1 more. On third down, the Eagles get another sack, this time by Brandon Graham, his third on the year. And that would force a punt. So the Eagles are going to start off with great field position. Miles Sanders trying to get something out of nothing, but he loses 3. That was a pretty bad play. Now, it was mainly the offensive line's fault. You can't really blame Miles Sanders there, but he also probably shouldn't have really ran backwards. 3rd and 6. Hurts goes up the middle for Dallas Goedert, who shrugs away the defender, bringing it to the 30 for a Philadelphia Eagles first down. The Birds are definitely in field goal range, but the question is, how many points are they going to score on this drive? Well, it's probably going to be 3, considering Jalen Hurts threw an incomplete pass there. So now on 4th and 6, the Eagles will send the field goal unit out. In Denver with the altitude, kicks will go farther. Now, Jake Elliott would probably make a 43-yard field goal from any stadium, but from here, who knows? Maybe he'll be able to kick a 63-yard field goal. We'll see. Hopefully he gets the chance to do that today. So Denver has it back, 3-0 your score in favor of the Eagles. On 3rd and 9, Teddy's going to try to run a screen for Melvin Gordon, but the offensive lineman ran into the ball. So again, the Eagles get the stop. They get good field position. So far, so good for Philadelphia, as it'll be a handoff for Kenneth Gainwell. Trying to break a tackle here on 3rd down, but he does not get it. Stopped on the play by the rookie, Patrick Surtain II. And that will do it for quarter number 1. 3-0 is your score. Not a ton of action so far. It's been a pretty quiet start to the game as we now advance to the second quarter. 3rd and 3, there's a nice gain of 13 yards for Courtland Sutton. Sutton missed most of last year of a torn ACL, but it's definitely great to see him back and healthy because he's one of the most underrated receivers in the game. On 3rd and 3, Javonte Williams trying to get the first down, and he does not get it. The fellow rookie, Milton Williams, was there with the tackle, so that'll force a field goal unit to come out. It's a chip shot for Brandon McManus, the Philadelphia kid. Went to high school in the Philly area, went to Temple University. So he is a hometown kid, so I guess it's cool to see him still in the NFL as a pretty good kicker for the Broncos. On 1st down, tough passes will be hauled in by Devontae Smith, who gains 28 yards, which is good enough for a Philadelphia first down, and the Eagles quickly get it on the Denver side of the field about halfway through the quarter. Gainwell with the handoff. He makes a nice cut, still alive, and gets around 20. Now, Kenneth Gainwell heard us talking about some running backs who are similar to him today, so I think he might have an extra chip on his shoulder to do well in this game. 3rd and 6, it's a first down and a touchdown for Travis Fulgham, and that'll put the Eagles ahead. Fulgham with his first touchdown of the season, going to take a bow, and Philadelphia will take a 10-3 lead with about 3.5 minutes left to go in the first half. The Broncos' offense has not been overly good in this game. We'll see if this is the drive where they really start to figure things out, and that's not really going to help. Fletcher Cox gets to the quarterback. Cox has had one of his best years yet, which says a lot considering how good he is. It looks like another defender, I think that was Graham, also getting to the quarterback on that play. 3rd and 16, Bridgewater under pressure, and that pass is broken up. The former Bronco, Michael Ojemudia, deflects it away. Remember, these two teams made a trade at the deadline, swapping Derek Barnett for Michael Ojemudia, so it'll be interesting to see how Barnett plays against the Eagles and Ojemudia against the Broncos. 3rd and 10 for Philadelphia. Hurts throws it away, so the Eagles are not able to get anything going on that drive. Jalen Hurts has been pretty efficient today. 8 for 11, 76 yards and a touchdown. So Aaron Sipos will go for the punt, and it kind of looked like a fumble low-key, but that's going to be a flag. So KJ Hamler called for the fair catch, but Kevon Seymour kept running into him, so that's not a fumble. That is going to be a kick-catch interference. That is a tongue twister, and it is a first down for the Denver Broncos, as they now have it at the 41, with plenty of time left here in this first half to try to tie the game up. 2nd and 10. Bridgewater, tough throw. It's hauled in by Jerry Jeudy. I don't know if he was intending that pass for Jeudy or for Melvin Gordon, but hey, somebody caught it, so I guess that's all that really matters at the end of the day. 3rd and 4 now from the 34. It's a handoff for Gordon. He runs right by Terrell Burgess, and that will be a first down. He gets 11, wrapped up by Kayvon Wallace. Wallace and Burgess pretty much swap spots today. Burgess is playing sub-linebacker. Wallace is playing out deep as the free safety. And so far, both of them have looked good at their temporary new positions. On 3rd down, Bridgewater tries to run with it. He is quickly tackled out of bounds by Fletcher Cox, who has been, unsurprisingly, all over the field in this game. Denver will again try to settle for a field goal. Brandon McManus hits the kick from 38 yards out. And the Denver Broncos are now only down by 4 as it's 10-6. The Eagles have all 3 timeouts. They can definitely get some points before halftime. As on 2nd and 10, Hurts will scramble with it, and he is going to be sacked on the play by Quentin Jefferson. Again, no relations to the running back prospect Osiris Jefferson. The Eagles would call a timeout there, which is pretty interesting. Normally teams would just give up on the drive, but the Eagles are going to try for a big play, and that decision pays off. Dallas Goedert with a huge first down to the 37-yard line, and now the Eagles have a legit shot to kick the field goal. So a gutsy call there by Champ Britton. Now Jake Elliott's 46-yard field goal attempt is no good. So it doesn't even matter that the Eagles got that big play, and the score will remain 10-6 after the first half. That kick did have the distance, but it was wide left. So far, this has been a defensive battle, which I've really enjoyed because so many Eagles games this year have been super high scoring, offensive battles, but it's been a tough, grinded out game so far, and it's been a really fun one. So we are going to continue focusing on running the ball. I'm switching it from running outside to running inside. And then defensively, I still want to focus on the intermediate pass game because so far that's worked. So Philadelphia is going to start with the ball. Hurts connects with Devontae Smith. Nearly intercepted by the cornerback, Bryce Callahan. But Devontae Smith still gets the first down. Smith having another pretty good game in what has been an awesome rookie season. 3rd and 6, it's an interception for the All-Pro safety, Justin Simmons. So Jalen Hurts still has only had one game without an interception this year. Now, in his defense, I think he's only had 2 multi-interception games. But Jalen Hurts he throws a pick every game, it feels like. So Denver gets it back with a major opportunity to take the lead. And we'll see if this is the drive where the offense can finally find the end zone as Cortland Sutton gets it past midfield. Now the Broncos are back to the 50 on 3rd and 11. Teddy Two Gloves is going to scramble with it. He's going to go short for a wide open Melvin Gordon, who is pounded the 29-yard line by Darius Slay, but it does go for a first down. Slay's been pretty quiet this week. He has not gotten an interception over the past few games after recording 5 in the first 7 weeks of the season. 3rd and 10, Javonte Williams does not get the first down. A great tackle by Terrell Burgess to stop him of converting. So it looks like Denver's going to have to settle for another field goal. That kick is nearly blocked, but it does go in. McManus is now 3 for 3. Denver has had multiple 4th and inches in the red zone today. They have been wusses with these field goal calls. Sometimes you just got to be bold and go for it. So the Eagles have it back. Nice pass up the middle for Travis Fulgham. The Eagles are really still trying to figure out who their wide receiver 3 is. Is it Fulgham? Is it Ward? Is it Kes Watkins? Is it J.J. Arcega-Whiteside? Who is it? Who is going to step up behind Rager and Smith? Hurts was hit on that pass, incomplete, so the Broncos get another stop. The stadium has gotten strangely darker within the past 2 minutes. And now Denver can take the lead. On first down, it's the rookie out of North Carolina, Javonte Williams, who gets to the 40-yard line. Javonte Williams, of course, had a great career at North Carolina, but he did take a lot of touches away from Humphrey Hawksworth, that running back prospect we talked about earlier in the video. On first down, it's a short pass for Albert Okwuegbunam, who has blocks down the field into the end zone for a touchdown, and Denver takes the lead. Albert Okwuegbunam with the score. I totally did not just Google how to pronounce his last name. And now Denver's going to try to go for 2, making a clean 7-point lead. Bridgewater under center. Will he throw it, or is it going to be a handoff up the middle? It will be a pass, and it will be hauled in by Tim Patrick. And the Denver Broncos indeed are now up by 7 with their first touchdown of the game. And now the Eagles are losing for the first time today, as it is now 10-7. Okay, so Jalen Hurts hands it off to Miles Sanders, who runs backwards, and Sanders somehow turns that into a big game. Now, in my defense, it was an RPO, and I thought Hurts was going to drop back to pass. That's why I ran backwards with Sanders. But hey, the play worked, so you can't really get too mad. 2nd and 2, now it's Kenneth Gainwell who has blocks. Gainwell with a nice run. He's had a nice game today. 4 carries, 36 yards. He's made a few plays. Now from the 34, we are now into the 4th quarter. 17-10, Broncos up top. On first down, Hurts will go with the corner route for Jalen Rager, who brings it to the 15-yard line, and Philadelphia is now in the red zone. They're going to possibly look to tie this game up. 2nd and 9 now. Hurts going to scramble with it. He's going to try to run into the end zone, and he does for a touchdown. And the Eagles are going to tie it up. Jalen Hurts with a rushing touchdown. A great drive from Hurts and crew. And with about 8:44 to go, this is anybody's ball game. Tied up at 17. Denver has the ball, but the Eagles slightly have the momentum. Bridgewater under a lot of pressure on first down. Gets it to Tim Patrick, who gained 17 yards. Bridgewater has definitely played better as this game has gone along. I do give him a ton of credit. Not to say that he's been great today, but he's improved as the game has gone. 3rd and 8. Bridgewater going to go short. And it's caught by Javonte Williams, who's wrapped up by Wallace and Burgess. So the Eagles defense gets the stop, and the offense gets it back with 6 minutes to go. First play of the drive from the 20. Hurts is under a lot of pressure, and he is going to be sacked by Bradley Chubb. Chubb has developed into one of the great young pass rushers in the NFL, making a big play there. Now it's 3rd and 14. Eagles need a big play to keep the drive alive, and it will be hauled in by Jalen Reagor for the first down. That pass was nearly picked off. That was pretty lucky that not only it wasn't an interception, but the Eagles get the first down. 3rd and 3. It's a handoff for Kerryon Johnson, who gets maybe a yard, wrapped up by Alexander Johnson. So Denver gets the stop, they get the ball back, and the game remains tied at 17 with 3:15 to go. 3rd and 6, it's going to be incomplete. Nearly picked off by Terrell Burgess. The screen pass was intended for Javonte Williams, and the Eagles get it back with 2:30 to go. Can they come back in this drive and try to take the lead? There's another sack for Bradley Chubb, his second in as many drives. A big play for the Denver defense, and now it's 3rd and 9, likely the final play before the 2-minute warning. Hurts looking to throw it. He's going to scramble with it under a lot of pressure, and he will overthrow Travis Fulgham. So that brings us to the 2-minute warning. Both of these defenses have had some major stops here in the fourth quarter. Which offense will break through first, or could we go to overtime possibly? 3rd and 7, the deep ball is broken up. Michael Ojemudia, the former Bronco, with the stop. And now Philly gets it with just over a minute to go and all 3 timeouts. Can they drive down the field and win the game? As on first down, it's a short throw for Devontae Smith, who gains about 16 yards. The Eagles did not call a timeout on that play. 2nd and 10, now down to 35 seconds. Hurts has all day to throw. Going to go deep for Goddard, who will make the grab, and the Eagles call timeout number 1. They're very close to field goal range, and keep in mind, with the altitude, kicks are going to go farther here in Denver. 3rd and 5, deep shot for Smith in the end zone. It is broken up by Justin Simmons. So that'll send out Jake Elliott for a 52-yard field goal attempt and the lead. The kick from Elliott is up, and it sails right down the middle. Philadelphia takes the lead with 5 seconds to go. A clutch kick by Jake Elliott. And now Denver has to go for the Hail Mary. This will be the final play of the game. It'll go or it doesn't. Bridgewater does not have a cannon for an arm, so he's going to need to throw it to about the 30-yard line and hope he gets lucky. Gets it to right around the 30, and it is incomplete, and the ball game is over. The Philadelphia Eagles will hold on for victory. 20-17 is your final. A tough, hard-fought battle here with the Denver Broncos, but the Eagles do get the win. They will improve to 6-4 on the season and will retain the first-place lead in the NFC East. Now, I do have a funny story. So, I know a lot of people have been getting this glitch where stats zero out at the end of franchise games, and that's what happened to me here. I had to play this game 4 separate times. The first 3 times, Denver won. So this was the 4th time I played this game, and it was the first time we ended up winning. So the Madden gods really wanted us to win. And of course, this was the time that it saved, because obviously it is being uploaded. So both offenses were fine in this game. Hurts and Bridgewater were okay. Miles Sanders was okay. Devontae Smith had a nice game. Dallas Goedert did a few big plays. But nobody on either offense really stood out. This game was about the defenses, and it was about the kicking, because both Jake Elliott and Brandon McManus had really busy days. Unfortunately, Terrell Burgess did not complete the breakout challenge, although we did have a lot of guys play well. He had 8 tackles, 1 for a loss, and a sack, so the exact same stat line he had last week. Good numbers, but it's not enough to break the challenge. Or so we thought, because the defensive coordinator tells us that he completed it and that he is now going to have superstar development. Now, this makes no sense to me because he did not complete any of the challenges. One of them was that we would need to hold them under 150 passing yards, which we were close. I think they only had around 170, but that's not under 150. He did not record at least 2 sacks. He did not record at least 2 tackles for loss. Did not get at least 2 interceptions. He did not get at least 2 fumble forces. So he did nothing in order to complete the challenge. but he still has the dev upgrade. So I'm going to ask you guys, is it fair to keep him with Superstar, or should I push him down to Star? Because the game did give him Superstar, but he didn't complete the challenge. So technically it's not fair. So I'm going to ask you guys, if everyone thinks I should turn it back to Star, I'll do that. If you guys want to keep him at Superstar, that's fine too. So that brings us to Week 11. I think I'm probably going to do a doubleheader in the next episode. Week 11 against the Saints, Week 12 against the Giants. And we're at a really interesting point of the season because we're 6-4, and in our final 7 games, we play the Saints, the Jets, and 5 interdivision games. Of those 7 games we play, none of the teams we face off against have records above 500. So we have a cakewalk schedule for the rest of the year. So playoffs is no longer an afterthought, and at this point, with a 1.5 game lead in the division, it becomes an expectation. And I think at this point, if we don't make the playoffs, that would be kind of disappointing. So hopefully we can strengthen our playoff run with games against the Saints and the Giants. Should be fun. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Peace out.